going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
It involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere.
Good night. Happy New Year.
The President of the United States is not a game player.
Venezuela's captured leader, Nicolás Maduro, has been brought to court in Manhattan to face criminal drug charges, along with his wife, Celia Flores. Remember, these are the latest images that show U.S. officials bringing Maduro and his wife to the court. American troops and officers from Drug Enforcement Administration, or the DEA, are also seen in these photographs. Just minutes ago, a motorcade arrived at the New York courthouse with high security arrangements in place. The visuals on your screens show the moment when American military brought Maduro from prison to take him to the courthouse. Maduro can be seen in shackles as soldiers bring him out of a helicopter and then put him in an armored vehicle. American troops were also seen escorting Maduro's wife. Remember, she, along with the deposed president, were both wearing brown overalls. Both were brought in separate cars. Judge Alvin Hellerstein, a 92-year-old Orthodox Jewish federal judge, has been appointed to preside over the criminal proceedings against Maduro and his wife. Remember, Hellerstein is among the longest-serving active federal judges in the country. Over his long career, the judge has handled terrorism and national security cases, complex financial disputes, and major civil lawsuits, including claims linked to the 9/11 attacks. And joining me live from Washington, D.C. is Eugene Craig. He's a political analyst. Eugene, good evening. Thank you very much for sparing the time to speak with us at WION. I want to start by asking you how you look at this first day of the hearing against Nicolás Maduro. This is extremely historic in very many ways, not just for Venezuela and its people, but for the United States of America to actually have this happening, because this is the second time that President Trump is pressing charges against Nicolás Maduro. He tried that in 2020 as well.
Yeah, he's tried it before. This time they actually marshaled resources and essentially invaded Venezuela to go in there and get Maduro. Look, I'm of the thought that two things can be true, right? The first thing is that Nicolás Maduro is a despot that probably should not have been in power, absolutely should not have been in power, and should have allowed for free and fair elections in Venezuela. I'm also of the thought that, hey, the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land here. And, you cannot launch an act of war without permission of Congress. The Gang of Eight wasn't even notified. Congress had no notice, no idea this was even happening. And the trampling of the separation of powers here is something that has to be taken very, very seriously, because, as a republic, as a democracy, and supposed to be the shining city of the hill, on the hill, and the beacon light for the world, if we don't adhere by our own principles, rules, and laws, what kind of example are we to be for the rest of the world? So, I think, Maduro did a lot of harm to a lot of people, but at the same time, if we're going to deal with the Maduros of the world, we need to deal with them under the principles, the laws, and the rules that are laid out by American law and the United States Constitution.
I absolutely understand your point, Eugene, when you say that there has to be a procedure that should be followed. And there are several people around the world who are criticizing this move by United States of America as far as international law is concerned. But as far as, Donald Trump is concerned, he has been voicing his opinions against Maduro for a long time now. Do you see something of a similar situation happening with Maduro as happened with the former Honduran president, Juan Orlando, who was sentenced to 45 years in prison for drug trafficking, but then Trump pardoned him later?
I don't see Trump pardoning Maduro because, he wants to see the pomp and circumstance around it. I know a lot of folk have been making the comparison of this to the Noriega, Panama Noriega situation. I think the bigger issue is this: we just can't run around just knocking off and arresting and extraditing and rendition-style extraditing world leaders. Team Trump has put the entire Western Hemisphere on notice. I'm sorry, we're the United States, we're the world's police force, we're the strongest, richest country in the world, but that does not give us the right to go into any country that is sovereign with their own constitution, their own rules and laws, and decide, hey, we're just going to knock off your leader and bring them here.
Eugene, before I let you go, a quick question. Is what you're saying the prevailing sentiment on ground in America as well? Are they opposed to what the Trump administration has said? Because, Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have both come out and justified this, giving out, in fact, listing out several reasons as to why this action was justified.
The thought process is split. Those that support President Trump are going to support anything that he does, and many of them that even voted for him on the No New Wars platform are supporting this action. Those that oppose President Trump, even if they agree that Maduro should not be in power, they oppose the action. And then there are folk like myself who are, strict constitutionalists, and folk that believe in the rule of law that say, yes, Maduro should not have been in power, but this is not the way to get him out of power. Which is very also similar to how some Venezuelans are feeling. You've seen reports that, some of those that are here stateside are cheering it, while some that are back in Venezuela see this as American imperialism.
Okay. All right. I'm going to leave it there. Eugene, Craig, let's wait and watch what happens next for Maduro and the United States of America. Thanks very much for joining us on WION and sharing your perspective.
Appreciate it.